Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Entrepreneur Investor Connection. Today, I'm talking about jobs of the future. Not only jobs, but skill sets people I believe are definitely going to need. The idea is right now, I got a bunch of Meta Bronxers. All the Meta Bronxers started last week, but today's their first official day. And I want all the Meta Bronxers to put the X emoji in the comments so I know you're there. Um, so basically today, though, I'm going to be talking about how we can be prepared for jobs of the future and skill sets of the future, whether you're an entrepreneur, investor. Even look what I'm doing right now. I'm creating content to draw in funding, ideas, partners, and just overall understanding of this community, of this world, this new world, that's innovation economy. Because what's happening right now is you're going to start seeing a lot of jobs going away, right? And you've already kind of started to see it. So I want to start preparing, especially the young people at Meta Bronx, but anyone watching for what is about to happen. And I think there's two big things that I, especially for the Meta Bronx students, you need to understand these two things, which is broadcasting in the 21st century and then agile project management. I'm going to give you the two breakdowns of what these things are, but basically, agile. All right, I'm doing multiple things at the same time, which they tell you not to do. But so the idea is agile project management and broadcasting, right? I'm going to start off with the broadcasting. What are we doing right now? How are millions of people able to watch me right now all over the world? Actually, every single person on the planet can watch this right now or for forever going forward. Why is that? That's major different from old school television, right? If some network gave me a TV show, I would just be on from that time to the end of that time, and then the show goes away until they want to rerun the show, right? Right now, what I'm doing is I'm going live on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitch. I didn't do Instagram Live today because I'm sure a lot on the screen, but I should have. I could be on Clubhouse, all these different places, people all around the world. But not only that, after the fact, those videos are still available for anybody to watch. I could take the audio and make it a podcast for people to listen to forever, and I will be doing that as well. So this is a major difference. I think a lot of people look at broadcast and think television shows, but the new version of broadcast is interactive. Right now, I just said, give me comments, and I already got 17 people, but I know there's 150 youth at Meta Bronx right now. So some people are not on giving the X, but I can literally talk live to the audience, right? You don't really see talk shows do that, right? You don't see a talk show live right now where they're talking to the global audience. So one thing I want to do is ask questions like, what do you watch right now? What are some talk shows that you watch? Also, make sure is on, so reach out to you. What are some shows that you watch live right now, or on YouTube, or on whatever, Twitch, whatever it is? Give me some names. And also, I'm going to talk about agile project management while we do that. So agile project management is the idea of taking small pieces to get your idea done. It's not about, hey, I have the idea to make Facebook. Let's just go make Facebook. No, you start out piece by piece and you say, okay, first let's start out by just working on the homepage. When people land there, what are they going to see? So we work on the homepage. All right. Then once the homepage is done, all right, while working on the homepage, maybe we can work on the login page. But to do that, there's different teams working on it, and all the students at Meta Bronx will really be participating in what's called agile stand-ups. What that means is, as you work and you're doing work for the entrepreneur or me or Philip or whoever else, you will get up, say what you're working on, say the problems you're having, any needs you need, and that's what agile project management will help for all projects, right? So I'm going to bring on later an agile specialist, who's a Meta Bronx mentor. You've met her already, but all right. So let's see some of the shows that you guys watch. Nafia Charles, I never even heard of that one. I don't even know what that is. If you could say what it is, and if anybody wants to jump on and talk, you don't have to show your face. If you show your face, even better. I'm going to put the link here. There's another thing I can do, right? I can invite people instantly to jump on with me and have a conversation. That is another huge innovation. You know how much had to be in place for shows to do this even 10 years ago? A lot. Now all this is done in a software where I'm going to show you the back end. I'm going to show you how this is done. All right, but let's look at some of the shows. Pardon the interruption. I have seen that. I don't really watch talk shows. I do watch content creators that stream on Twitch. So I'm on Twitch right now. I'm also on YouTube. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter at the same time. That again, innovation, right? This is pretty much a year old where you can do that, maybe a few years. But this specific software is called StreamYard, and I'm going to show you the back end so you guys can see how it's going to be, because the Meta Bronx students will be putting on the diversity demo day this year, where we highlight the 5 startups we've been working with over the past year and introduce them to investors on my live. So you guys will be able to watch all of that. But in the beginning, right now, I want to talk about these 2 things that I feel like are really important for people to understand in the innovation economy. One, you have to understand how to create content and draw awareness to whatever it is you're building. 2, you have to understand how to build it in the best way possible to spend the least amount of money and do it the fastest. Hey, Marlene. Hey, everybody who put the X. Thank you. All right, if you're watching, you haven't put an X in there, you're fired. Not just playing. All right, so let's see some other shows. Pardon the interruption. So Pardon the Interruption is very similar, where they'll have multiple screens where people are talking, right? But there's a host that asks a question, and then everybody else chimes in, right? So we could do that here. If you guys wanted to jump on, I think I can have up to 9 people on this screen at the same time, and I could control who talks. And we will eventually test that out if we need it. We're still planning out how our diversity demo day will be. But if you got here when the stream first started, you saw a video, right? So here's one thing that you could do here that is really interesting, and we are definitely going to use, is you can play a video. So here's my intro, my current intro. I'm going to play it again so you guys can see I'm playing a video full screen. Watch. So that was my intro. I got to work on it more, but I just wanted to play it today for the first time so you can see how that's done. Right now, what we're going to have the Meta Bronx students do is they're going to create stories about Meta Bronx, the story of Meta Bronx. They're going to create animations, and then we're having each one of our startups create their pitch, their investor pitch. So during our event, you students are going to run the show. So I'm going to start showing you behind the scenes how the show is run. So I'm going to share my screen, and again, any questions, ask on the YouTube, and I will answer. And if anybody wants to jump on the screen and all right, the X like this, yeah. Justin has it. If anybody wants to jump on the screen, like Pardon the Interruption, they have the link there. All you have to do is click that link, and it brings up your video or audio, and you can be on the show. That's also very innovative and new. Okay, so now what you're seeing is the back end of StreamYard, and you're seeing like the infinite dive into the content. But as you can see, I can see all the comments right here, and I can pull up certain comments. See? So Scarlett, all right, so let's see. I'll bring up a bunch of comments. So I can bring them up live, but if there were questions, I could bring them up. All right, I don't really watch TV talk shows. I watch content creators on Twitch. So you need to go follow me on Twitch. It's M Sanchez World, and tell all your friends too. All All right. So Good Morning America, sometimes on YouTube. So you watch the replays on YouTube or you watch it live on YouTube. I didn't even know that they put that on YouTube. Unless you subscribe to the uh the YouTube whatever Red. Okay, so last week tonight. So that's a good show. So see that show? I'm going to show you something, how we could create something just like that show. I'm going to keep sharing my screen. Actually, I'm going to share my full screen. So you can see me. I'm going to make a graphic in Photoshop. And I'm going to pull it up just like they do in those shows. So right now, let's say I wanted to, all right, I'm going to talk about cryptocurrency. Let's say we talk about cryptocurrency. I'm going to look for Bitcoin news. Let's say I wanted to talk about this and I found an image that I wanted to use as the thing that shows up on the side of me. If you ever watch those shows, the person is talking and then to the side of them is like an image, right? So I'm going to show you how to do that here in StreamYard. So what you do is you copy the image. Oh, wait, this is After Effects. Actually, this is where I created the intro. So if you see, these are all the layers of the pieces to this introduction. But this is like professional animation software. You guys won't need to use this, but it's just good to see the professional level stuff. This is all Adobe. So, okay, Photoshop. All right, let me bring it because I have two screens. So, okay, let's say I'm going to create a new screen. Sorry, I got two screens throwing me off. All right, make sure you can see my screen. Also, if there's any questions, ask, because I understand I'm saying a lot of things and, there may be questions. All right, so self-advocacy is key. Without tech-savvy mentors in today's world, expect little help. That's right. That's right, Aaron Billett. That's what we're here for. Also used to watch Jimmy Fallon's show. Yeah. When the Marvel actors were invited to the show. Okay, so they went on to promote something. That's another thing. A lot of times the shows are put on so people can promote something, right? Right now, what we're promoting is that we got young people in the Bronx and Harlem learning innovation economy skills, right? We're teaching 13 to 22-ish young people from our community the skills of the future. But if you are not that age or you are looking for your next opportunity, these are still skill sets that I believe you should learn as well. So, all right. So I'm going to pull up Photoshop. I'm going to make a new screen of this Bitcoin, image that we're going to use to show as I talk about whatever, right? So I'm going to just make it look like it's the talk show. So first I export this as a PNG. Okay, I'm going to just desktop, call it Bitcoin. Spelled that wrong. All right, so now I'm going to quit out of this. So this is Photoshop. If you don't know Photoshop, it's probably one of the most popular programs in the world. But it's I highly suggest everybody understand Photoshop. So, okay, so what I'm going to do is, now I'm going to bring it in. Can you still see my screen? No, right? You can't see my screen? Oh. All right, let me stop sharing. Oh, I know what was going on. You were looking at the wrong screen. I had two screens. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a new overlay, and it's going to be the Bitcoin file that I just created. All right, there it is. All right, so now what's going to happen is it's uploading that image, and now when I press this, when I press this, you see how on the shows, it'll be like the guy is like over here and he's talking, and then there's the image that they're talking about right there. So you could do that kind of stuff in this program. Um, Again, I'll show you from behind the scenes how that worked. I'm gonna, okay, that's the screen. So, okay. So what I did was I uploaded the image right here, and then I pulled it up. By just pressing it, I pull it up. So all these things, this used to take an army of people in like a, looked like a airline cockpit that needed a bunch of people running a show. I'm running a whole show by myself right now. You all are seeing how it works. So this is part of the broadcasting in the 21st century, right? The idea is anyone can be their own studio, right? Right now, I do have multiple screens. I got a good camera. I got a good mic. I got lights, but I built that up over time. You could do all of this just off your computer phone or your phone, your computer camera or your phone. So when people, think about the future, one of the biggest things almost every employer understands is people are going to have to understand how to create content. What I mean by that is if you are in a company, you're going to have to understand how to create things to promote your ideas, promote the company, to even stand out, right? To stand out in a company or in the world, you're going to want to create content. That's what I'm doing right now, right? There's a lot of people that may not know what MetaBronx is, but after today, they're going to be able to see this video. They're going to see all these people in the chat, and they're going to say, wow, what is MetaBronx? They're going to see Nikki come on later and talk about agile project management, and they're going to wonder how could they get in touch with Nikki? And Nikki has worked with some of the biggest companies in the world. So by creating content, you put yourself in front of more people with less time, right? So in the past, if I wanted to network, right now there's 40 people live watching. If I wanted to network with all 40 of you, I would have to go somewhere, shake each one of your hands, talk to you individually. Right now I'm going live and all 40 of you are able to watch and understand what I do. You can chat with me right here in the chat and I can answer. Nicki Minaj, what's Nicki? What are you talking about, Nicki Minaj, Shane? Shane, you want to get behind the scenes and help because I know you were one of my apprentices last semester. I know I didn't go live enough, but this summer I'm going live a lot. We're gonna go live. I'm gonna try to go live 20 times. That's my goal. All right, so I know I just said a lot. Anybody have any questions about creating content and broadcasting in an environment like I'm doing right now? And then I didn't even add, I could have Instagram going at the same time. I could have a thing, which I do have right there, but I just didn't set it up, where I could be talking on Instagram at the same time. I could have another phone, which I have there. I didn't set it up for today, but I could be on Clubhouse, or they just launched Spotify Greenroom. How many of you have Spotify? Raise your hand if you have Spotify, or just say yes in the chat, because Spotify Greenroom is another version of Clubhouse, but I believe it's going to have a bigger audience, maybe faster, because there's so many people who already have Spotify. And there's a new feature that they're doing that's pretty genius. They're saving the file, the audio file, so it could be a podcast. If you know, Joe Rogan built a million, like I think it was $250 million business off a podcast that he live streamed like this, right? And now he got, I think it was $250 million from Spotify. This was him and one friend set up this show. They did it for 10 years. They got $250 million. They got a deal from Spotify. But now Spotify, with this green room, I don't, but wish I had Spotify. What? Spotify's free. I thought I don't pay for Spotify. I think it's free. Oh, I'm gonna see BTS performance. You going to the show, Liana? You gonna go see BTS at Jimmy Fallon? That's interesting. I didn't know that. Yeah, so Nikki's about to be on in about another 10 minutes. Which actually, I got to send her the link of how she can get on, just like I sent it to you guys. So, all right, any question about broadcasting? I know we spoke about Jimmy Fallon. We spoke about all the shows you guys watch. Anything about what I'm doing right now that you're like, well, they do it. I wish. What is something they do that you don't think I can do in this environment? Besides, get Jennifer Lopez as a guest sitting right next to me, which will happen one day. Oh, you're gonna watch it on TV? Okay. All right, trying to look through the questions. All right, what else can I show you guys? All right, so I showed you how I made the intro by using After Effects. I showed you how you can create, kind of things that you want to highlight. Oops. There's only one or the other. So things that you want to highlight, right? If I was talking about Bitcoin, like Bill Maher, this is Bill Maher. I don't know if you know Bill Maher from HBO. He'll talk about something and have the image there. I could do the same thing like this, and maybe I will plan to do more of that. I don't know, topics. So also, just so you guys all know, this summer, I'm going to be introducing you guys to another innovation cryptocurrency. If you haven't already, you have to go make a MetaMask wallet. I sent you all the link. If you're interested and you're watching and you're not from Meta Bronx, there's a video in my YouTube channel about how to set up a MetaMask wallet. If you want to follow along with all the students and get into cryptocurrency and learn how to make money in cryptocurrency, not just by buying a coin and hoping it grows, there's a lot of cool ways, which is called decentralized finance, to really grow your money through cryptocurrency. And I'm going to show the young people at Meta Bronx this summer. But today I just wanted to go over two things to make sure you guys are prepared for what we're going to need you to do. So if you watched, we created animation. There's this management of all this. There's social media. Right now, there's comments, and I'm going through them myself, right? But I just did a live stream 2 weeks ago or 1 week ago where there was like 150, 200 people. So there was someone else watching the comments and telling me which questions I should ask, right? So somebody in Meta Bronx will be doing that. Somebody at Meta Bronx will be managing the ones and twos of everything I'm doing here. All of you will be promoting. So definitely share this with any of your friends that are home and can watch on YouTube. And hopefully some of you will come on screen with me and have a discussion. That's my ideal scenario, where we have discussions about things. You ask questions about what you want to know. Because like I told you in the beginning of Meta Bronx specifically, you only get what you ask, right? So if you don't ask questions, I will never know that you had a question that I could answer. So if you have them, ask. What crypto coin are on your wallet, on your watch list? Side question. No, it's not a side question. Good question. I currently have, I like these coins. Actually, I'll show you my screen. I'm going to show you what coin I'm really watching. I own a lot of them, but I made some mistakes early on and bought coins that I shouldn't have because I was just learning. But that's why I want you guys to learn. The faster you learn, the better off you will be the next time cryptocurrency has a big jump like it did earlier this year. You can make a lot of money. So I'm going to show you my screen and show you the coins that I currently am watching. And I'll show you how I watch them. All right. So I'll share my screen. All right, you can see my screen, right? Okay, yeah, you can see my screen. All right, so first one, of course, is Bitcoin. This is TradingView. What this shows you is how the coins go up and down in price. So you see, when I go to here, it tells me that was when it was $57,000. Here was $63,000. Now it's $33,000. What that means is one day, no matter what, it will go back to $65,000. You know how I know? I'll show you. History repeats. It always comes back to the high. And I guess it's loading. Try to refresh. So I don't want to take too much time on crypto. We will spend a lot of time on crypto. But if you look back in history, before, I don't know what's going on with this. All right, whatever. I don't know how to control this, but before it went up high and then it came back down, and now it's going up high again and it's coming back down. But that means there's opportunity. But let me tell you the quick coins before Nikki jumps on. Bitcoin. Bitcoin's like the granddaddy of all these coins. It's a Bitcoin that I think everybody should own. Every person should own Bitcoin, I believe. Okay, what you see here in this chart, we'll get into the chart stuff later. I'll just talk about the coins. Ethereum, that's the second biggest coin. This coin, though, has generated ridiculous amount of money because it's created a whole economy on top of itself. Again, we'll talk about that later. There's another coin I like a lot called Matic. It's a Polygon network. You'll understand why as we get deeper into the crypto stuff. Aave, which this coin, AAVE, allows you to become your own bank. So when you understand that, you'll see, and it's a huge innovation. Huge. Again, you guys will learn about it. Tel is another one I like a lot because Tel solves a problem for communities of color that is called remittance. So have you ever had family members that work in America, then they send money back to their country, right? We all have heard of people like that or have people like that in our family. Right now, when those people send money back to their families in whatever country they want to send back to, the fees to do that are astronomical. It's a huge percent of how much they send. So that's unfair. Tel, T-E-L, is creating an ecosystem that will allow people to do that for very, very low amount of money. And by owning the coin, you can get some of the profits of those transactions. So that's a huge opportunity as well. It's very early. It's only 16 cents. Okay, now QuickSwap is the coin. It's a place where you can swap coins, and I like that one. I use it a lot. Mana, you're gonna learn eventually. I'm gonna create a building in the metaverse. All these terms you'll understand, and the sooner you understand them, the better you are in the future. The metaverse is a world that you can go and walk around in that's purely digital. A lot of you are in the metaverse already. You guys play Fortnite, Roblox, games like that, Minecraft. Those are metaverses. I'm going to show you a metaverse where you can make actual money in. And I'm going to buy a building. I'm going to buy land and make a building in there too this summer. Link is Chainlink. Chainlink is a great product where it shows you all the prices from the different places and different coins. I really think that project is good. ADA is a project with great potential. It's another blockchain like Ethereum. And then I followed Dogecoin because I bought Dogecoin when it was like 5 cents. So hopefully it goes back. It's definitely going to go back to 68 cents. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't recommend you buy Dogecoin first. I recommend you buy Bitcoin or Ethereum first. So hopefully that answered your question about what cryptos I like right now. And again, any questions? So I just showed you a lot of different things. I'm trying to be fast paced so it's not boring, but at the same time, it's a lot of information. So I understand that. All right, let's see. I had Doge when it was dirt cheap, sold it when it was 70 cents. Wait, Jason, you're in Meta Bronx? We need to talk. You are you in Meta Bronx? Let me know if you're in Meta Bronx or you just a YouTube subscriber. I can't keep track of all the names. We got 150 students this summer. Um, Apprentices, not just students. Any other questions? I can talk about another ecosystem I'm going to look at soon, but I'm waiting for Nikki to join, and she's going to talk about agile project management. Oh, there she is. Perfect time. All right, so we're going to bring in Nikki now, and we're going to talk about agile project management. So Jason, we're going to have a conversation. Jason is making cryptocurrency trades in his spare time. Nikki, how are you?
I'm great. How are you? Can you hear me all right?
I hear you good. Is everybody here, Nikki? Everybody tell Nikki hi. And give her the Meta Bronx sign. There's another Bronx alumni.
Act all day. Thank you so much for having me, Miguel. I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you for coming on. I wanted to give people first. I know you've been on the show before, and I'm going to link to it. But give people your background, your history, and then we're going to get into agile project management because the Meta Bronx students are going to get their learnings this summer.
Yes, definitely. So my name is Nikki Torado. I'm from the Bronx. I grew up in Castle Hill. I went to high school in East Harlem. I went to Manhattan Center on 116th and Pleasant. And I went to study sport management because I wanted to be an agent and manage athletes. Graduated with my bachelor's degree from SUNY Cortland. And then from there on, I've realized that working in sports wasn't really going to get me out of my mama's house really fast because my student loans were so crazy. So I went into the business field, started working in sales. And from there, realized, you know what, I'm kind of weird and quirky. And I want to get into tech because that's where you can be kind of weird and yourself. And there's less judgment just from being in corporate America, and tech is it's a safe space for us. So moved into tech, super amazing company called Rackspace, learned about open cloud, was able to move from sales into product development, product training. So started training people on our public cloud, rolled out an amazing.
Wait a minute, let me explain what cloud is.
Yes.
Because or you maybe you explain it because these students and maybe people watching may not know.
So back in the day, when you went to a website, that website was hosted on a box, like a server, right? It was some sort of hardware. That hardware was in a data center, right? And if you, let's say, had the Oprah effect, so Oprah put you on her show and 50 million people wanted to buy your product. If this box didn't have the right amount of resources on it, your website went kaput. So I don't know, when these Kylie and all the Kardashians, they released this lipstick. Imagine you couldn't get to that site because it couldn't handle the load on the traffic and didn't have the bandwidth, the RAM, anything. So what cloud is, cloud basically took what we know as physical hardware and created everything to be virtual. So now instead of having just one box in that data center, you can have multiple cloud servers that are virtual spun up. So you're creating these cloud servers on demand. So let's say you have that Kylie Jenner or that Oprah effect. You get all those resources that you need for that 24-hour period, that month period, and then you spin them down. So what that's done is allow you and me to make websites on Wix. That's allowed you and me to search any book that we want on Google. That's allowed you and me to take, I don't know about you, Miguel, but I used to have a cord phone growing up and try to go to the bathroom with a cord phone. And the phone was only used to talk, right? And now we use our phone for everything.
I get upset when I get phone calls. I'm like, why is someone calling me on my social media device?
Exactly. So just from a very relative standpoint, I'm not getting into the technical specifications. Cloud has enabled us to have a very connected world where, even my laptop right now, if my laptop were to fall in the water, I'd be mad because I got nice stickers on it. But everything that I have is accessible through the cloud. So I can the hardware doesn't even matter. It's all about the software. So I hope that was a good explanation.
Definitely. And so what Nikki said that actually happened to me I was working. This is a crazy story, actually. I was working, and this is messed up. I was working on the website for Aaliyah. We were
Wow.
launching her new website, and she passed away.
I,
As we launched, it was launching literally the day she passed away. It was gonna launch, and we launched it. Servers went down. Of course, everybody looking up Aaliyah at that moment, right? What AWS does is it scales based on a billion people can go to that website and it won't go
yep,
down because it keeps growing as the need is there, right? But
exactly.
of course, we're gonna get a bill, right?
Yeah,
So you gotta understand that. But we'll
exactly.
get into more into that later. But okay, so now let's talk about your work history with Agile Project Management. How'd you get into project management and product
Yeah.
management?
And I think the way that I got into it was so being in the tech space, I loved kind of working with sales and support and then with the public, but I kind of wanted to get deeper. So I started working with developers and became kind of like a developer advocate. So understanding, what challenges they're facing. I started to try to learn how to code using Python, but realized that's not my forte. There are going to be 1,000 million better Python than I will be, but I understand it. So how do I liaise my love for kind of technology with helping developers? So I learned how to define the challenges and help kind of bring that feedback back to the business so that every business, it was specifically for Object Rocket. How do we make our platform better for developers to use to build cool products? So Agile is in the way that we work, right? So Agile is like this umbrella way that companies do business. And specifically for me, how they, manage their e-commerce website. So software development, right? Let's say right now, you clicked on broadcast to start this broadcast. My job is to make sure that when you click on that button, there's a back-end code that has been developed and tested from a quality assurance standpoint. If there was any test scripts that needed to be run, that all of that is done in a way that is short, iterative, and meets consumer demand. So a good example of Agile is COVID, right? COVID hit. What did everybody do? Go to websites to buy stuff that they need, right? You can't go to the store no more. So e-commerce has blown up. I remember going to Best Buy and the week of the pandemic, and it was crazy because it was closed. Then 6 months later, what did Best Buy have? Best Buy had the ability to now tell you, we're going to come outside to your car. What parking spot are you going to be in? What color is your car? And if you notice, Best Buy, whatever supermarket you go to, they
Food
probably
places too.
food places.
did it too. Yep.
The first week, they probably only had, let us know when you're outside. So you couldn't put in what car you in, what color, anything. Then a month later, they probably had, okay, what color is that car that you're in? That's a great example of developing in an agile way to where you're releasing features slowly and on demand, not just waiting, a year from now when you have everything done to release it all. So that's a really great example of, agile development and what I manage.
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, of course, any questions from anybody in the audience, period. But, okay. So talk to anybody watching about what is the process. If I was a developer too, one of the big things, like Nikki, everyone should get their hands dirty and understand development. They say know enough to be. Never can't lie to her and be like, oh, this can't be done. She's like, wait a minute. If you go here, and here, you could do it, because she understands it enough where someone can't tell her something that's not true. And everyone should understand that at a basic level. I got to a pretty high level of being a developer, and I didn't enjoy it either. So I said, I'm not going to do it. I'd rather manage developers. But now developers can't lie to me, because I did. I did it for you. So I can manage. But
yeah, more so support them, because a lot of times, in my experience, developers are like, a million times smarter than me, and they get caught up in the problem solving. They're like, but this has to work. So they'll try to go around it and stay stuck on that for like hours, because they're like, I'm gonna figure it out. Versus like, wait, let me have a look at that. What if you try it this way? Or what if we just stop and just start something new? Like that's, GitHub branching code and things like that. So I think it's really important that, developers are super smart, and sometimes they want to problem solve so much that having a second pair of eyes that understands, or like making suggestions to, like, fail fast, abandon that, and let's use that code to branch off and start this.
Yes, but the fact that you understand helps,
Right.
because I've been managed by project managers or product managers that didn't understand that, and it's harder, right? It's harder. But yeah, so because you do understand it, it helps. But another big thing you just said that really reminds me of the good project or product managers that I had, the really good ones. They kind of helped you make decisions that will make sure you get to the deadline, right? Like, hey, all right, so this is not going to happen in time. What if we tried this?
Exactly.
I could try that. All right, and that works out, right? So understanding and having another set of eyes is sometimes all you need as a developer, because it's just you in your own head, like you said. And if you're stuck, having someone else that understands is really helpful.
And that's the thing about Agile, right? So the way, if you think of companies like Kodak, is Kodak around? No. Instagram has kind of replaced Kodak, right? So you look at it and you talked about, let's stop, fail fast, right? So meaning, and I know, at 17, 18, I was scared of the word failure, but we use it differently now. Fail fast as in, you have this idea, cool, let's stop talking about it, because I loathe when people just, I don't want to use the hate word because it's a strong word these days, but I really dislike when people just talk and it sounds good and they selling a dream. No, like, put into action. Let's work on it. You know what? That didn't work. We failed fast. We didn't spend all this money, time, and energy in something that we're just going to talk about it. And then when you do that, you can pivot. So Kodak obviously didn't fail fast. They didn't adapt. Instagram has come in, bought by Facebook. They've become highly valuable. Why? Because they're able to release in short, iterative kind of cycles. And I think that's the biggest thing with Agile, and why I love it is because we can adapt to COVID. How many companies have not come back after COVID? It's really sad.
That's
how many
innovation in itself, right? Like, if you're not thinking innovative, right? Like you just mentioned, Kodak could have made Instagram, but they didn't believe in mobile apps, right?
Exactly.
So they didn't even try, right?
Exactly.
So then Instagram. But go ahead,
and it's all about becoming digital companies. I think right now, some of you guys might be wanting to open a bank account. You turn 18, you open a bank account, you're going to start saving money. Are you going to go to the mom and pop banks that you have to go to an ATM? Or if you don't go to their ATM, you're paying $7 to, take out money in CVS. Versus you have digital financial companies now like Aspiration, which I actually use myself. And, you have a digital card, so you don't even need a physical card. And then they partner up with every single ATM in like CVS, Walgreens, and things like that. And there's no physical bank, but they are a digital financial services company now. And so it's like, how are these companies now moving to where they are digital? Because we all access the internet via our mobile phone, and we're all working in a way that we have to adapt. I think one of our fierce leaders, Philip, posted that COVID cases are starting to get bad again. How many people now are freaking out because they're like, oh my God, I can't take another dip. I can't take another lockdown. And physically, emotionally, I can't either, Miguel. But from a business standpoint, I would, companies that have been using Agile are ready, because they're like, you know what, let's switch that. Let's do this. And we on it. We're going to develop this way. Versus companies that are not doing Agile, they have to change plans now. They have to spend all this money. And, so I think
like Agile. So one thing I just want to make sure, like, Agile allows you to not have to plan years, right? Exactly. Like the old idea is, what's your 5-year plan, business? And it's like, 5 years. God, the whole world is going to be different in 5 years, right? So now you plan for the next feature. Like she was just saying, like, okay, right now, what do we think is going to help the app? Okay, let's make a team that just works on that. So let's talk about how that team works, though. The whole stand-up, everything, like from start to finish. So the young people and anybody watching, because most people don't understand this that don't work in tech. But I do believe everything is going to move towards this, not just tech.
So the way of working in Agile is basically it's a self-organized team. Like nobody reports to me. I'm not their boss. Like it's my job to make sure I'm protecting and hustling for my people. So they tell me, they're like, every day we have, a stand up where we're supposed to be standing up no more than 15, 20 minutes. And everybody's like, let's say our feature was to, add a feature in the Best Buy app so that you can put the color of your car. Cool. Development is like, all right, I'm working on X, Y, and Z, so that you can have this drop-down menu with these 7 colors, based on whatever the UI team gave. And then testing is like, okay, we're running these test scripts, we're doing this, but Dev, what do you think about this? So, in terms of a way of working on a very molecular level, every day, everyone is holding each other accountable. Nobody's putting up a report like, hey, boss, I did this. Hey, boss, I did that. It's very much like we work for each other. We're hustling for each other and we're holding each other accountable. And within that, it creates sort of this value that I've never experienced before because, I think graduating from school and working in sales, it was great. But then you have these numbers that you're like, I got to hit this number. I got to hit this number in sales. Or if you're in business, you're like, I got to do this presentation. I got to do this presentation. I got to get this client. Whereas in software development, when you're working from an agile standpoint, you're working together. Like, how can we make it so that we're continuously developing and improving and getting this code out there? And it's, ideal state is every 2 weeks. So every 2 weeks, you have new software that's working.
A new update, right?
Exactly. New update that's working and it gets into production. And it's cool because, I think especially for this culture now, you want immediate feedback. You want to get stuff done. So for the person that's a go-getter, if you're ambitious, if you're a hustler, working in an agile space will keep you happy because you feel like you get to see the fruits of your labor immediately. And then equally, you get to get that feedback so you can continuously improve.
And the challenges, right? Like one of the things, I remember one of my first jobs where I thought top of the world working for a huge company, but you get bored, right? If you're not constantly challenged, but if it's I forget the word for it, but if you're creating these challenges by week in your, they call it stand-ups, then you have that challenge, that constant challenge. And talk about when you do the stand up and what you talk about, because one of the things is help, right? If you need help, that's the perfect time.
The stand up is our day. They call them ceremonies, right? Not to bore you guys with the verbatim, but our stand up is the everyday check in. So where you're talking about what you're doing, and then you're asking, if I'm a quality assurance analyst, I'm asking the developer or maybe the UI person or the UX person for help on I'm testing it this way. Is this kind of what the acceptance criteria outlines? This what the business wants? And then development can get with QA and say, if a QA person, a quality assurance analyst found a bug in what was developed, they can get with them and say, oh, wait, you know what? You didn't have this check box on or something like that. So I think the stand-ups are very much a way for the team to collaborate and work better and stronger every day. And then we also have sprint planning and sprint review, where at the end of those 2 weeks, here's what's dope. And what I love about it is you look back. So there's a retrospective where you review and say, you know what, this went well, this didn't. And I always ask my team, what frustrated you? What annoyed you? What were you you had to go on mute and take your camera off because you had to give it oh, Lord.
That's good. That's a good question.
That's agile because, I don't know if the students on this call are old enough to know the difference, but back in the day, I had to keep the straight face, keep it PC, yes, of course, I would love that. And it's no, in agile, you keep it funky. You're look, this frustrated me. Can we do this way? And the thing that I love about agile is the team makes the decisions. It's not somebody in some office looking at, New York City making gazillion dollars a year. That's we're going to do it like this. No, the team is look, this is what works for us. This is what we're going to do. Obviously, everyone in the team has to be on board, but everyone in the team has an equal voice. And, I'm just, Miguel, we're about equality and just having our people kind of move the needle. And that's really what I really like about agile is, yes, we have acceptance criteria that comes down from the business, but the way that we're going to accomplish that goal is not dictated to us. We're going to get there the way that we deem necessary. And that's what I think is amazing about agile.
Yeah, you're right about that equality thing, because you know, if you are a person on a team but everybody else is making the decisions, eventually that lowers your camaraderie or your
It decreases
motivation.
morale. It decreases
Yeah,
morale.
morale. Yeah.
Like,
So I've been in those scenarios, because when I was working as a developer, I was most of the time the only minority, right? So one time I literally had to leave the office and walk like 20 blocks, like because I was really gonna just swing on somebody. But the
like
idea, no, I mean, but the idea, agile existed, but it wasn't adopted back then. Of course, I'm talking about like 15 years ago now. So yeah, it was around though, but only like the Twitters of the world, and even Twitter wasn't even around out there.
yeah.
So, but now I think it's the norm. And if you are creating, if you have an entrepreneurship idea, if you want to create something, what steps would you give an entrepreneur so they could build their product for the cheapest amount, the quickest, test the right things first,
Yeah.
find the right team members? I don't know, any advice?
Yeah, so agile can be applied everywhere, right? Like I have a board for my daughter and I, like we do agile at
Nice.
home. Chores, girlfriend, chores. She's 4, but she swears she's 14. So
Nice.
like agile, the great thing about agile is you can apply it to any area from a work standpoint to a personal standpoint. The main thing with agile is like think post-mortem. So like think of your end goal, where you want to be, right? So then you take steps backwards from that and you activate on everything. So like if you have an idea to start a clothing line, or you have an idea to be an animator, or whatever it is, think about like, okay, 6 months from now, I want to have this clothing line on BigCommerce or Shopify or wherever. So now I got to start with the ideation phase, and you time box yourself. The big thing with agile is like you got to time box it, because you can go on and on and on and on and on. So you time box that 3 days, boom, you started your sprint, right? Let's say you have a 2-week sprint, 2 days of ideation.
Yeah, so sprint just means how long you're gonna work on it, right? So
how long you work on it.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can do 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. I would say 2 weeks is ideal, right? So you start your sprint on a Monday, boom, Monday, Tuesday, we're going to do ideation. Then from that ideation, you learn that, you know what, there's 3 top ideas. You start activating on those 3 top ideas. And then that next phase, you determine like, you know, if you're going to use software, you determine if you need a budget. And if so, what's that budget going to be? So you determine like all the logistics. And then after that is really the MVP. The MVP is, you know, if at the end of the, you know, sprint, I want to have this site on Shopify, but I realized, you know, I need money that I don't have. So what's your MVP? MVP stands for minimally viable product. So what's the smallest version of what you're trying to do? Like, what's the smallest version of that? So if that's just, yeah, so that's just, you know, I don't have a photographer to take pictures of all of the clothes that I'm trying to put on this clothing line, but I got like one really good picture. So your MVP is that site with one product, right? And then, you know, so then you break down like, all right, so I need somebody to do the copyright. You know, I need somebody to write the description and do the content and resize the photos on the website, you know, something like that. So now you have one person where you literally, and the thing about Agile that's dope, you can use a Trello board, which I did with the interns last summer, and you can be very prescriptive and tell them exactly what you need, which I think is helpful for entrepreneurs, because if you have an idea and a vision, you know what your idea vision is. Don't take for granted that other person does. They may not. So if you give them exact, like, here's what I want, of course that, you know, you want them to use their creativity, but it also helps them to just check the box and get it done. So now you're moving really fast.
Yeah, Trello's amazing. Everybody, especially Meta Bronxers, go check out Trello, because we're probably going to be using it again. Like Nikki said, she did it last year. We're going to do the same idea where everybody understands what they have to do. And this summer, we got a lot of deadlines, so people are going to have to be on it. Yeah, so I know we got about 5 more minutes. I mean, I can hang, but any questions from the Meta Bronx community? Ashia asked if there are any requirements. I'm not sure if she means she was talking to you or us, but all right. So what do you think that the Meta Bronxers at least need to understand to make sure they get their stuff done this summer?
So I think, you know, being a Meta Bronx intern right now, you need to understand that one, there, you know, I operate in constant chaos. I think that's normal when you're building really amazing products and really amazing experiences, because you have to be able to adapt to your customer base. So I think as a Meta Bronx intern, you have to love that level of like where you can be creative. Not everything's gonna be like, do this at this time and like this, and like you have the opportunity to be creative. So embrace that. Embrace that. Take the initiative. Last summer, we had some interns, man, you know, you could ask Sarah, it just blew me away with their creativity. You know, they didn't take the time off and just like, you know, scroll the gram or be on TikTok. Like they were there, you know what I'm saying? They were there being creative and using that time to like try things and ask us questions. So as a Meta Bronx intern, use the time to be creative, be okay with uncertainty, and leverage your resources. Miguel, myself, like, you know, I met Miguel because I was like, I think it was a Bronx Tech meetup, and I stalked him. Like I stalked him. Like, I was like, yo, I gotta know him, you know? So you gotta realize when you have someone, you know, not to say nothing, but we're from the Bronx. Like we grew up in the Bronx, you know.
Yeah, we're like gold unicorns.
Exactly. Like use us, you know, use us, stand on my shoulders, stand on Miguel's shoulders, question us, hit us up on Slack anytime. You know, we're gonna get back to you if we don't get back to you right away. And also just work in a way that, you know, not only are you being creative, but you're trying new things. This is a space where we're treating you, you know, the way that we would treat our colleague at work. So, you know, there's that respect. There's that, you know, I'm thinking all of you are creative. All of you are here to learn, to be engaged, and to learn things that, you know, took me 15 years to learn. You can learn them today. And,
exactly.
you
know, and you ask questions, right? One of the biggest things I feel like as a young person, and even it happens to me now as an adult, you have to be comfortable asking questions. There's literally no way humanly possible all the words that came out of Nikki's mouth and my mouth in this hour, you fully understood.
Yeah.
There's almost 0% chance of that. But we can only answer questions that you ask, right? We can't go into your brain and say, oh, I know you didn't understand whatever, Sprint, right? But if you ask, you could DM on Slack, Nikki, me, put it in the comments in YouTube, whatever. Get the information. Get the information because, like Nikki said, this is not a normal environment. You guys are in an environment at a very young age that adults are still confused about, right?
Yes.
Nikki, right?
Exactly.
So you guys understand, and that's the hardest thing to get out of the Meta Bronx youth. And most youth, right? You don't want to seem stupid. Trust me, this is rocket science. You're not stupid. Exactly. One of my superpowers, I really think this is a superpower. I have no problem asking a question because I know I'm not stupid, right? So that's where it's like, you can think I'm stupid all you want, but I want to understand what the hell is going on here, and I'm going to understand it. I'm not leaving this meeting without understanding it. And I know some people are like, damn, I would have never asked that. And I'm like, too bad. I'm asking. and they're like, but you didn't use, you know it? No, I didn't. Then you're welcome. So definitely take advantage of that. What are you going to say?
I was saying, I think that's a great point. You know, I think we have to have the confidence, the self-confidence to believe in ourselves. We know who we are, and nothing anyone else says matters because we know who we are and we're here to learn, you know, like our greatest currency is our knowledge. So like, let's level up. Let's get that money in terms of knowledge.
And now the network. Now you know Nikki. When Nikki's the highest level person in whatever company she's at, she needs someone. You be like, oh, I remember you.
I'm calling my people.
That's right. That's right. All right. Meta Bronx just said it's incredibly important to not care what people think when you ask questions. That's really tough in coming from where we come from. I think it really is. All right. There's a question. Can you ask too many questions? No. I know it could feel that way. And I feel like that sometimes. That one, you could get to a point where you're like, all right, I'm not getting it. I'm going to have to take this offline.
Yep.
That's a skill set right there, right? Like, I don't want to ask 30 questions because I just not going in my brain. You say, all right, I'm going to ask offline. This is what I meant about the DMing and all that. Because, yeah, sure, it could be annoying if you keep asking it because you don't understand it. So just take it offline and try to get another time where you make sure you understand it. But again, to each his own. There's people that don't and just say, no, I need to understand it. With me, when I was responsible, like Nikki said, when I was a developer and I was responsible for that product, I was not leaving that meeting till I understood what you wanted from me.
Yep.
Or what this person was saying, because then when it's not done and everybody's looking at you, they're like, what happened? I thought you understood, right? Then you're really in trouble, right? So to me, it was like, wait. I need to make it go from here to here, and then it has to bring in this.
Yep.
I don't understand how I'm gonna do that. How am I supposed to do that? Right?
Exactly.
So I think this might be a good place to end it, exactly an hour. Unless there's more questions, of course we got Slack. Thanks, Nick. Thank Nikki, everybody. Thank Nikki for coming on and giving you guys some information on Agile. We'll all be participating in stand-ups, sprints this summer. We're gonna be making a lot of things happen. Let's see what Meta Bronx.
What you want to avoid is asking a lot of questions. Yes.
Without listening to the answers. Yeah. So basically, that's kind of what I meant. Like if it's taking a long time for you to connect with the answer, it might be because you're not listening enough, and you may need to take it offline and have more of a conversation. So everybody's thanking you, Nikki.
Thank you. And please hit me up, DM me. DMs are open 24/7. I will get back to you.
Twitter, right? You have Twitter? It's Twitter?
And Twitter, Nikki Tirado, NIKKITIRADO, at Nikki Tirado. And for sure, let's just make this summer productive and fruitful, and let's grow together.
Yes, thanks again. Looking forward to this summer. We're gonna have a crazy summer. Everybody's gonna be crypto millionaires. We're gonna be agile monsters, broadcast specialists, and we're gonna put on the event of the Bronx year. So stay tuned. Thank you for coming by. Thank you, Nikki.
Bye.
Bye.